Hey guys, welcome to my life. This is the screen that I am staring at in the morning when I am trying to make decisions that will either make me a little bit of money or cost me a little bit of money. If any of you have done any trading, then you already know what we're looking at. Maybe the screens or the charts may look a little different to you, but that's why I was going to go over and explain exactly what I set up. I actually just finished this setup today. There are still a few areas here left to finish out. Go ahead and give a disclaimer. This is a simulator. I am currently using this in a day trading boot camp that I am starting. I've actually already started, but I'm going to be actually starting trading recorded next week. So I needed to go ahead and get my layout set up, my hotkeys tested. As you can see up here at the top, I have a lot of unrealized here. If this would have been a real trading day, I would be down a little bit of money. But fortunately, this was just me smashing the hotkeys, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted them to do, if they were going to work right and all that good stuff. So thank goodness this isn't real. If it was, then yeah, I might want to start looking for another hobby. Alright, as you can see, these are really just a mirror of each other. If we draw a line right down the middle of the screen, you'll see this side is really just a reflection of this side. That's because I can have two montages up and have two trades going at the same time if need be. Normally I won't do that, but this is just in case. Now the only thing that isn't mirrored, as you can see, is the top here, which will show me my active orders that I have. The reason I have this up isn't really for the money that is unrealized or realized. This is more so I can keep an eye on my average cost, and just in case if something doesn't feel the way I want the order to go through, I can see exactly how many shares I have. I always like to have that in the forefront just so I can never miss that. That is the most important thing to me, is my average cost and my share size. Even though I hit hotkeys to take all of my trades, I still see slippage sometimes just due to the limit orders I place, so I like to have this always right there in front of me. So next here in the middle we have these guys, which are the market views. These are linked to each side of this montage. So this guy right here is linked to him, and this guy right here is linked to him. So at the beginning of the day, whenever I get my stocks that I want to watch and trade off of our list, the scanner list, I will pop those bad boys in right here at the top. Then what's going to happen is if I click on TMC here, this montage and all this information on the left hand side is going to populate with TMC. If I were to click on Neo on the right hand side, this entire side will obviously populate with Neo. Now what I can do is have both of these populated with the same stocks, that way I can just flip back and forth. I may experiment with that, but for right now I think I'm just going to keep them separated on a few stocks on this side and a few stocks on this side. Down below here, even though this is the same market view screen, these are stocks that are going to stay here permanently. I like to group them up just based off of sectors, that way I can kind of keep an eye on what's going. Here you'll see EV stuff, here you'll see travel, here, down here I have weed. I need to add a few more to the pot stocks. I got some Wall Street bets. This is something that's always being added to, obviously, but I have the big four going right now. And I have a little bit more room. I want to finish populating this tonight, I believe, but you know, you really don't need a lot, because if you can see what the sector is doing, you can kind of get an idea of what you're doing. Alright, next here in the middle is I have my order window. The only time this is going to populate is if I put in an order to either do a stop loss, a break even, an ad, something that's sitting there waiting to fill. This is where this is going to populate. So if I'm doing straight orders and they're automatically filling up to this window down here at the bottom should stay blank. But just in case you know, I throw out a break even, this is going to tell me exactly, okay, I'm short and I have a break even at what price. This is going to tell me the status, you know, how many I have, the price it's going to sell, etc., etc. So that both of these windows are going to reflect data from both of these montages. These are not linked to one or the other. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of trading. Here to the top left, we have what should be familiar to everyone. One of the charts which displays a few of my EMA lines, the VWAP of course, and then I have the 200, which I'll just leave on here even though it's the 1 minute. This is the 1 minute chart. I normally use 1 minute just because it better suits my setups. And down here I have the 5 minute chart, and down here I have the 1 day chart. Really, the only thing I ever look at 1 day for is just to see the previous levels and if there may be a ceiling. But honestly, it's not something that I'm going to stare at all day to get data from. I'm going to look at it once, which is why it's so small. I'm going to take a look at it once and set my levels and just let it go for the day. I'm not going to constantly be down here like, okay, when should I take an entry? So these two charts are linked directly to my montage via this anchor right here. And obviously, like I said previously, this is linked to this. So whenever I click on a stock here, it pops up over here, which is then going to shoot my information down here. And then I can see where the volume is, where I need to start taking entries, etc., etc. I'll give you a quick rundown of what I have as far as level set. As you can see here, I have the 20, 9, and 200 moving average exponential lines, which are represented here, here, and here. The obviously valuable VWAP, and then I have the 50 SMA, which I rarely use, but I like to have it here. And then, as always, which you'll see me calling out, is the Camarilla pivot points. And lastly, I have down here just some volume candles. I like to be able to see the volume, obviously, for setups when it's coming in at different points of the day, and they're going to form some patterns themselves, which is really useful. You'll see stair steps like this, or you may see a stair step up when you're looking for a break of a certain level. So you definitely need to have volume candles either down here at the bottom or coming from the left hand side. Somewhere you need to have volume candles on your chart for sure. Next we have time and sales, one of my most favorite things when it comes to trading. I am trying out a different method here, which is definitely a little bit different than I'm used to, but I saw this from one of my mentors and wanted to give it a shot, and I tried it today, and so far I'm liking it. The configuration I have, if you're interested, is this top time and sales is set to show nothing but trades that are over 1,000 in quantity. So these are going to be the big guys that are stepping in and saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy this 2,000 share stack at 44.55. A lot of these are going to be algorithmic entries. You can tell that because if you look at the number after that, that's not something a human would trade. I'm not going to trade something that's 44.43567. That's insane. That's a robot doing that. So, but I do want to see when these monster orders come in. That lets me know that there's some interest from the big dogs. Secondly, this is something neat that I'm trying out. As you can see, there's a lot of black, and then you'll see the red or greens dump in. Like that right there. There was a big old green flash there. What I've done is I've hidden all the trades that are coming through in white, just so I can see what is getting sold on the bid or what is getting sold on the ask. This is honestly, and there you go, the orange is actually what is going to be sold above the ask. So that's even better. That's when you see a lot of orange, that's really good. That's something you don't really see a lot of. That's a market order going through. That's somebody just saying, okay, I want these shares and I don't care what I'm going to pay for them. And I've actually found this useful today. I'll give you guys more of some feedback once I've used it for a few days. And lastly, down at the bottom, we have just the regular time and sales. This guy is dumping all information, no matter the quantity, which side it's going to. It's just the normal one. That's why it's so small, and I have him just chilling out down there at the bottom. Okay, last but not least, the most important part of this entire system is the montage / L1 / L2. So what I have going is not very complicated at all because, to be honest with you, I do not use these buttons at all. I never go up here and manually change any of this information. I do everything by hotkeys and with my mouse. So all my orders are placed using hotkeys, and that's pretty much it. Really, all I do is look at this screen. I never go over here. Anytime I change the stock is me clicking it on here or on here. There's a very rare occasion where I want to dump a stock in here that may not be on any of the lists, and if that's the case, I'll just go here and highlight it, and as you can see, when I highlight it, the entire thing turns blue, which lets me know that it's ready to type in, and I'll just type in something like Apple, and you'll see everything change. Other than that, I never go in here and piddle with any of this stuff, just because I want all this to stay the same, the default. If I switch over to Microsoft, I want all of this to stay the same. I don't want to have to go in here and piddle with the order type or the amount. If I want to change the order amount, I'll just use my hotkeys like this and go up and down. I have a default of 100 shares per up or down. So if I'm doing like 1,000 shares, I'll just jump it up there real quick, or if I'll just go down either or. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have there. The L2 is configured a little bit differently than a lot of folks. This is something that I just started using today, and I really hope that it comes in handy. A lot of times you'll see these different colors like all through here, which is what I normally used to use. But now I have switched over to having everything really similar. There's only 2 different colors when it comes to the price. As you see, there's just black and gray. The one thing that I've made stand out is large order quantities that are coming through. I want those highlighted. And the reason I'm doing this is something I've been taught over the past few weeks and past few months from a few of the folks that I am in a community with. This is meant to represent the large stack orders that are coming in, and I have mine set to 1,500 shares. So each of these different pink colors you hear is a 1,500 or more quantity sitting and waiting to be either bid or asked. They're waiting to be bought at these 2 prices, but they're just sitting here floating around. What we're looking for is a large amount on one side or the other. Now, this late in the day, some of these stocks, we're looking at Apple now, this thing is so thickly traded that you see massive amounts of shares, and they're just going to sit there and bounce all day. They're just going to sit here and do this. The reason being is because these are a lot of algorithmic trading going on right now, just because it's late in the day. If this was at the bell, you would see this thing going bonkers and hopefully loading up to one side or the other. The idea is to kind of give you an idea of price action. From what I've been explained to, is that this kind of gives you a gauge of whether or not the market makers want the price to go up if they're building a ladder on the ask, or they're kind of pressuring the market to go down when you see a ladder on the bid. And what we mean by ladder is, like you can kind of see, these are steps on a ladder. But we're trying to find which side has more stairs. I mean, this is what the market makers love. They love to see stocks go sideways like this, because in reality, they're making money per trade. The market makers don't need the price to go like this to make money. All they need people to do is buy and sell stocks. They're making money off of the actual trade transaction. They're not making money based off of how much money you made. So if they can keep a stock in a channel like this and just have it bounce back and forth, they're more than happy to do that for eternity. But we as retail traders don't really want that happening. We want to see this thing doing this kind of nonsense. So when we want to see this, you'll see the market makers trying to equalize this. And by doing that, you're going to see them placing orders on one side or the other. And that's kind of going to give us our bias. Again, this is a new setup. I'm almost done, and this is what I'm going to be using for my boot camp. I will keep you guys updated. I know this has been a long video, but I thought it would be helpful just to have a look and kind of see what's going through my mind. Lastly, I do have a window that I'm not going to show you guys because really all it is charts. That's what I use the other screens on top of this one for, and they're just static charts that sit there all day. and they're going to contain a few stocks that I may want to keep an eye on to see their price. So let's say if I want to trade NEO, Tesla, or XPEV, I can go up to that other screen and type in NEO, Tesla, and XPEV in 3 different chart windows, and they just sit there all day, while I can be down here on this screen trading whatever. Let's say if I want to trade Clove, I'm down here actively watching Clove on this screen. Meanwhile, on my top screen, I have these little windows sitting there, which are just charts like this, etc., etc., you know, stuff here, and they just sit there and chug all day long. And you know, that's a really simple setup, and that's just really how I'll go about it. I know if you're not used to seeing this stuff, it kind of looks like I'm trying to fly a spaceship or something, but trust me, there are a lot of people out there that have a lot more complicated setups than I do. Well, if you stuck with me this long, guys, I really appreciate it. I do appreciate you coming to the channel and checking out all my videos. I'm going to continue to get better and try to produce better content for you guys, stuff that's more interesting and a little educational and helpful. Thanks for coming by, and as always, have a great day.